Hi everybody. This is the first time I've actually been directed by my guides to actually come live on Soul Evolution. And when I was asked to do so, I asked why, and they said people have to understand why so many people are being driven to channeling today. And it's a very fascinating process, this thing called channeling, which is basically accessing higher aspects of who we are, different beings, dimensional beings that have information and knowledge that is not readily available to us on this physical plane of consciousness. I want to welcome you all. I'm just waiting for Lorraine O'Connell to come on. She's going to be coming live with me. We're going to be talking a bit about channeling, why it is really important for people to engage themselves in these higher faculties of communication that we have. And so I'm really excited about this because it's been something I've gotten very passionate about in the last couple of years. And I want to start sharing this across multiple platforms now, because one of the ideas that I've been given that we need to get people involved in is uniting people in such a fashion that we emotionally begin to alter the direction we're going in as a species. And I can't stress how important this is, that we learn to emotionally go in a unified direction. About 4 weeks ago when I was writing, the idea came to me that emotion is our fifth state of energy. We've got solids, we've got liquids, we've got gases, we've got plasma, and they told me emotion is the fifth state of energy. And sentient beings like humans are the beings that have the capacity to direct and utilize emotional energy in a way that they can creatively alter and change time, space, and matter. And of course, when they present that to me, I'm like, really, that's pretty fascinating, but how would that allow us to alter time, space, and matter? And they said, emotion is an energy that science is just beginning to measure now. They're just beginning to actually measure the way emotional energy works. And once that understanding is garnered by humanity, we're going to be able to change things very, very rapidly. We'll just wait a little bit more for Lorraine, but I'm going to continue putting through the information they're having me speak right now to you about this coming paradigm. What they had asked me to do is to unite as many people as I could and bring 1 billion human beings together. They said it would take at least 1 billion humans in a unified state that would be able to electromagnetically alter the way the planetary energy is functioning. And I said, well, the planet's huge. How can 1 billion people do that? I said, because you're dealing with an energy that's not mechanically measurable by humans, but is measurable by experience. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, when you're filled with a state of joy, you can feel your body reacting and responding to that state of joy. When you're in a state of sadness or unhappiness, your body reacts to your physical system. The physical system, they stress this, our physical systems are affected directly by emotional energy. And as they said, it's easily demonstrated by just watching how people behave. People's behavior is emotionally driven. And that's a source of energy that comes directly from the very source that provides us with the life that we get to live, that we get to express. And they said, once people on a larger scale learn how to harness this energy deliberately, consciously, and in a unified way, that we can actually begin to make significant changes on a planetary scale that has not been seen in tens of thousands of years on this planet. I've been told there's only 2 civilizations that were able to effectively bring together people in a large enough number that they could actually emotionally stabilize the way the planetary electrical system operates. And we get into this in classes and courses and we teach, but for today, the goal for today was essentially to produce this idea for you, to share some of the ideas about why people are channeling and why it's so important. And they said, when you start to listen to ideas and information beyond your normal capability to perceive them, you can find solutions, answers to problems that you cannot find in your own mind. And humanity as a whole will also enter into a position where they too can also solve problems on a global scale that they cannot solve with the content of their own experience and information as a collective whole. And I questioned them what they mean by that. And they said, the collective whole is all human beings gathered as one consciousness, able to harness a collective energy called emotion deliberately and intentionally, and that collective has a greater power at bringing in information above itself when they're harmonized. So accessing higher frequencies of information and knowledge from ascended masters, from beings, from consciousnesses from other planetary systems, other dimensional beings. There are such a range of beings that are available to us. I've had Master Jesus has been channeling to me a lot lately, talking to me a lot about the need for harmonizing the love frequency in the human collective unconscious. He said this is what he and many masters throughout the last thousands of years, he's saying 5,000 years, have really tried to instill the need to focus on love, not as a concept, but as a feeling that unites and bonds and inspires and empowers and uplifts. He says it's really important to understand the value in being able to do this. Most people do not. Most people can't. And so it becomes very important to understand how to tap into these higher consciousnesses. I'm just going to see if Lorraine's here yet. Let's see if I can find her. And hi, everybody. I'm really glad you guys have showed up. Okay, Lorraine's not here yet, so I'll just wait a little bit longer for her. So yeah, why are so many people being driven towards channeling? Because instinctually, we know in our own system, in our own knowledge base, we do not have all the solutions to our own problems. If we did, they'd be solved by now. The only place a problem can be solved is beyond the point at which the problem exists. And this is something I think Einstein said about 100 years ago, that a problem cannot be solved at the level which created it. So all our human problems are at our human level. And our ability to reach out beyond ourselves, to tap into beings from other dimensions of consciousness that understand the solutions to problems beyond this physical plane of consciousness, is the way to go. It's where we're going to find solutions. Many great men, Edison, Tesla, Elon Musk, many beings have discovered that this thing called intuition, which is a place that they've never really been to pinpoint where it is. They said it's within me. Well, if it's within them, then we should all learn to go within to find that place where we can get information and solutions to those things that we're working on that we want to transform or transmute effectively. So this is basically what today's about, to introduce you to this concept of bringing 1 billion people together. And we also want to talk a bit more about how we are initiating that. Hang on, let's see, I think that might be Lorraine now. There we go. Wonderful. Bringing people together is so important right now, and it's about a feeling state of love and joy and grace. Hi, Lorraine.
Hello. Hey, how are you?
Glad you made it, hon.
Good, and yourself?
I'm doing great. This is Lorraine O'Connell. She's working with us in our courses and classes this coming October, November, and she's one of the people that has learned to channel through our program. And we've been we've all been quite blown away by what you've done and how you've transformed in the last few weeks with the course. You're actually part of that announcement when they brought through the idea of bringing 1 billion people together. How have you made this art? Because when you first started, you were interested in channeling, but you weren't actively channeling at that time, were you?
No, like I knew I was having sensations, like when I'd meditate, and I wasn't aware of what was going on. So it was kind of like, okay, I'm getting energy in the back of my head, and I wasn't sure. I didn't even know it was energy. I just thought, okay, I'm getting a sensation, right? And it wasn't until I started the course that I started to realize what those energies were and who were actually communicating with me at that time when I'm doing meditations. And to me, that's been huge. Before, it was like, okay, I get a sensation here, the back of my neck, maybe at my heart, not really knowing what it was. And then by doing those exercises that you teach us, that I start to realize, okay, there's energies that are coming in or communicating with me. And as I go along, I start to learn the communication. Okay, they're wanting to communicate, and I start to communicate with them. So it's been amazing for me, anyway.
But prior to that, like, what was the arc? At what point did you realize that these were beings that were trying to communicate with you, and how has it affected your life?
Oh, like at what point? When I started the course, you mean, or before that? Oh, when I started the course.
How's the process of learning to channel as a result of the courses affected your life?
Oh, huge. I mean, like I feel like now, like I communicate with Jesus quite a bit, and before I didn't know. And it was just like, I feel like he's like, when I call him, I can call him in straight away, or if I have an answer or a question, I will get an answer. And before, I wasn't that communication. So it's communicating, and I'd go in and ask a question and I would get an answer. Or I find the yes and no is very beneficial as well, getting those confirmations and asking a question. And if I don't get an answer, then I change that question so I will get an answer. So sometimes you will get a question, but you might get nothing, and then you have to kind of, okay, how do I ask that question differently to get that answer? And I find doing a lot of that as well.
How effective have your answers been? Like, you've been asking a lot of questions, getting a lot more answers now. How effective has that been for you in terms of redirecting your life and how you conduct yourself and how you interact with people?
Oh, huge, huge. Because if I'm unsure about something, I would just go in and ask the question, and I will get an answer. Or just guidance in general, right? Before, I was kind of like, okay, I felt like I was kind of on my own. Or, you know, I'd be by myself in a room and stuff like that, and then realize actually I'm not. There's always somebody, and you can call in anybody, and just learning to communicate with that being or energies, that, and to get guidance. And that to me it's just been amazing. Like the last few weeks doing the course, it's just like been blowing my mind, and to know that we always have communication, and that we can always ask for help, or, you know, if we need guidance, that we get the guidance, you know. And sometimes you might ask something, but you might necessarily get the answer you want, but it's the right type of guidance that you will end up getting in the end.
It's fascinating. As you're saying all this, I'm getting waves of energy. Like I've got the Divine Council Light have been with me this morning, and Master Jesus have been with me this morning. I'm really coming through strong right now. And I know exactly what you mean, because they're like that. It's like we all think so many of us can get lost in thinking we're isolated and alone.
Yeah.
And without that door of communication open, you realize just because I'm in a physical world, there's 99% of the world around me that I don't see or I don't hear. And I mean, for me, it was like a real eye opener. I've been free now for about 2 years, knowing I can talk to these beings and actually have them speak through me, as you have been having them speak through you, as others as well in the group and the courses. How have you seen it affected the other people in the group?
Oh, people, I've just seen, like, from the start, how much people have grown. Just like, just with their, like, with communicating, like, just the one-on-one sessions we're doing as well, and just the growth, what they've, the channeling and the answers that they're receiving and they're giving to people, like individuals. It's just been amazing. Yeah. It's just.
How do you think that channeling could benefit humanity as a whole?
I think actually it starts with like one person, right? And I always think it as a domino effect. So other people will benefit from it and realize, yes, we're not alone. We can communicate with these, you know, our guides and archangels, and even extraterrestrials, if you want to say. You can have communication as well, right? So it's just like, wow, we are not alone, and then other people will see that too. And so we're all communicating, and at one point when we're on this path, that we'll actually be able to communicate with other beings, like the Octurians, or like a few days ago I had a visit of the blue avians appear to me at nighttime. So like I've had beings like that appear to me, and it's just been amazing. And just like all these high vibration, and everybody, when you're resonating at that frequency or higher vibration, it will affect other people. And again, the domino effect, right? And it'll just help raise the human collective consciousness as well on a whole.
Yeah. How would you say, like, certainly in the channeling, I know I've gotten much different information about how I should eat, how I should sleep, how I should conduct myself, the things I should do, where I should go. All of those things have been impacted by the communication I have. Like right now, JC's saying I'm going to bring a message to her in a minute. Yeah. But how has your health, how have other areas of your life been affected by the guidance that you receive from them?
Yeah, it's interesting, because it's like, I give you an example. When I was starting the channel, and I asked Jesus, because I usually ask Jesus or my guides, but so should I? So I was thinking about, I was on a keto diet, which I was on the meat keto diet for a few years, and I gave that up. And then the last year and a half, I went on the vegetarian keto diet. So I asked Jesus at the time, I said, should I go on stay on the vegetarian keto diet, or should I do a more of a raw diet, like raw vegetable diet? And I got the answer to turn towards more raw vegetable diet, because it's live foods. And so for
Wow.
me, so before that, I was just like, oh, I'll just keep on the keto because it's a very strict diet, and it's only certain vegetables that you can eat. But with the raw one, you're still getting lots of nutritions. And also, Jesus was also like encouraging me to do them with the juices. So doing
Yeah.
juicing every day. And again, that also helps my channeling abilities. I find when I have a raw juice, especially a green raw juice, which is really good. And giving
Wow.
up, I used to be a huge coffee drinker. Now I was like addicted to coffee, and I used to have like 4 cups of Timmy's a day, like no problem. I would just knock it back, and I felt like They were saying, look, cut back on the coffee. I did. I actually got really bad joint pain for a week. Like, and I was like, what is going on? And they told me it was actually a withdrawal from the caffeine that was causing those joint
Wow.
pains. After a week, I
Yeah.
never got them. And now my favorite drink is peppermint tea, chaga with ginger. And that's
Wow.
a high vibrational drink as well. So great for channeling.
Now, all of that you were directed by them to make these changes. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah. Oh
That's
yeah.
fascinating because I know the same thing happened for me. How I exercise now, what I eat, what I sleep, where I go, what I do. I check because in our own personal minds, we can only perceive the world from what we think we know.
Yeah.
And until we step outside of what we know, we can't learn anything new. That's what
No.
JC tells me all the time. You
Yeah.
can't learn anything new from what you know. You have to
That's true.
start to explore what you don't know to start understanding more.
Yeah.
And the human collective can't function together if it doesn't get out of its separateness
Yeah.
of everything. But that's
Yeah.
fascinating because I know exercise, diet, all these things change when you begin to step outside your own personal paradigm as you have, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's been amazing.
So you started with us back in July, I believe, when we first opened the 101.
Yeah.
And so if you were to talk to the you that first was thinking about taking the course and the you that is now, what would the you now be saying to the you that was thinking about taking the course?
Don't think about it. Just do it. Just do it. Because before I was getting, like, I felt I wanted to take the course, but it was kind of like, I know I should. I had that feeling, maybe I should take the course. And I felt like I was waiting. I just don't know what it was, but I was waiting for something. And like, I believe I was waiting for this course, not me realizing what it was, but it was like on a different level or like a higher consciousness. It was like waiting to take this course. And this course was so valuable. Yeah, that's how I felt. And
Yeah, there's an
just
actual,
take it.
I want to say to the people that are watching, there's an actual process to learning how to channel. There's actual measurable step by step, piece by piece process that anybody can learn to go through to connect to these beings that are with us all the time. I mean, JC, when you understand the Divine Council Light, Metatron, all these multidimensional beings, Yogananda, many of these beings on other planes of consciousness function differently in terms of time and space than we do. We think of time based on our physicality and how we measure it with our minds, but they can be in multiple places at once. They can do things on a scale that we can't because of our finite sense of who we think we are. And they downloaded into us an actual process for going from being just a separate individual that we are now to being a person that's interconnected to divine beings. If you want to say that, they say, but you are equally as divine as us. They always tell me that. You are equally as divine as they are. The difference is they know it and you haven't accepted it yet. You haven't figured out how to view yourself in that light yet. And as you learn to do that, you can move yourself out of the limited space of your thinking into the unlimited state of your being.
Yeah,
And they've always said that there's a limited state of who you think you are, and there's the unlimited state of our being. And the process that we've developed takes people from that finite state to that infinite connected state while maintaining your individuality, because we're here to be individuals as well as being connected to all these other beings. And you can feel the difference in that element too, can you?
oh yeah, totally. Huge, like, there's a big difference in that. Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. So the process we walk everybody through is very simple and easy to flow. We won't be launching the courses until October the 5th when we launch the 101 course, and on October the 26th we'll be launching the 102 course. We have a course starting in September 5th, the 103, but that's a closed course for students that have already taken the 101 and 102, and it's an amazing arc, and it's this time, and they keep telling me today was about getting people aware. There's 3 things that have to happen for humanity today. The first thing is humanity has to get aware that emotion is the 5th state of energy. 1 billion people have to be brought together to be able to create a shift in Earth's electromagnetic potential. And when I asked them what they meant by that, they said the poles, the actual magnetic poles of the planet are shifting. And I said, well, that's just a natural process. They said, no, it is not a natural process. It is if it's left unattended. But human emotional energy affects this whole electrical system. And science is just beginning to understand what this human emotional energy actually does and how it interacts with the physical world. But a united consciousness of humanity can actually begin to alter physiologically the electromagnetic shift in the poles, which was mind-blowing to me when they said that. But they said this is the goal of channeling, and all the people that are training channelers right now, all the people that are opening everybody up to how to connect to these divine beings. And there are groups all over the world that are doing this right now. And they said it's really important. These groups are bringing people back into the connectivity of our connectivity with all that is, with our whole human family. And it is only from that place of connected consciousness that we can begin to make united changes on a scale never before seen. We got people that are millions strong in certain areas, but when you bring 1 billion people together with one simple cause to establish a state of love and grace in our collective unconscious and our collective conscious, it's going to blow our minds because we've never experienced that in tens of thousands of years. We haven't had that opportunity. And I know from experience, I'm experiencing that right now. I mean, just feeling Jesus and the Divine Council Light present with me, that I experienced this. And I experienced that with our group and just with everybody else I pass on the street now. When you go down the street, what's the difference for you when you're walking down the street, Lorraine?
Just like from my perspective, just like I feel like peace and bliss kind of are just a higher level, just a higher level of vibration. And I do find that it does affect other people as well. That by you being like, hey, how are you? And you're all, like smiley, and if somebody's in a bad mood, they're kind of okay, and it changes them. Even if it's just something small, it has an effect. And I do find that. So when you're vibrating higher, I guess what you'd say, it does affect other people around you, for sure.
Yeah, it really is a miracle watch. Like you said, I've seen people on the street that are actually angry and upset, and I move into a state of love and grace, and I just feel that feeling inside myself, and I radiate it out, and I actually watch them change. And you actually learn how to do this. Everybody should know. Children should be taught how to get into a feeling of love and how to radiate. Not that they need it. I think children actually are love, and we teach them how to be something different.
Yeah.
But now we got the upcoming 103. What are you excited about with the 103 coming up?
Just to continue my experience and also connecting with everybody. I mean, for me, that's been amazing as well. Just with not alone higher dimensional beings, but also within the class itself. I feel really connected to everybody there. It's like we have this little group, and it's just that everybody's like we're all on the same mission, on the same path, and that's what I find amazing. Like individuals, right? Because like sometimes outside of your world, people don't see it the same as you, and they kind of might, turn their heads, go, if you say something. But we're all on the same path here, so that's amazing. And yes, it's just like another family. That's how I find it, and it's it's amazing. People who are equally the same.
Yeah, it makes the process of forgiveness a lot easier too when you understand that just some people just don't know, and they haven't gotten that information that we've gotten.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I hope we're gonna take. I know that Jesus has been at me to speak on his behalf and just to iterate these words to people. So if you don't mind, I just want to communicate this message to all of you. He says, there is a great love on the other side of a very thin line that we all have been on the other side of, and this line has its time to be erased. It is important to erase this line. For humanity to come together from a place of love and grace. This is what I taught many thousands of years ago, and what I've continued to do even to this day through many whom we work with. It is important you understand the distinction between love and fear so that you may make a conscious and deliberate choice of how to create a better experience in your life and that of your fellow brothers and sisters on this physical plane. We always come from love, and we can always communicate to you through love. We cannot communicate to you through fear because that is not our modality. But in your process of being willing to discover and understand what is love for you, how do you express it? How do you live it? How do you speak it? How do you do it? and then to communicate and share that frequency and vibration with others will create the great changes that so many of you on this planet are yearning for and are within reach. Right now, they're within reach. No matter how it appears, it is always within reach. Love is just beside you. It's a simple choice in your perception to be willing to feel and know, remember, and then extend to your fellow humans from within yourself. Know that I'm always with anybody who asks for me in my name. To speak my name as you would speak it is enough. There is no special way, but just to acknowledge my presence, and you'll feel me with you. And there are many others willing to work with you from many levels of consciousness. This is but one small plane of consciousness that's available for experience. But I'm here today to say that we love all of you, and we'll work with you that are willing to allow us to communicate, and that are willing to express the love that is truly who you are. For you cannot be anything other than the love that is you, but you may delude yourself into thinking something else is true.
Mm.
Mm.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. He always my back and shoulders always start to sweat when Jesus comes present with me, because he always puts an arm over my shoulder, and I literally just start sweating. This energy just comes down. Literally, it's like literally I'm sweating all down my back and on my shoulders, but not up here. And like these beings are real beings. I mean, I was raised Catholic for about 5 years, and I grew to really resent religion, organized religion. And as a result, I painted the brush with many of the masters with that brush too, that they were really basically religious. And I've discovered that's not the case. They are not affiliated with religion. They are affiliated with love, and there's a big difference. They keep saying to me, the Divine Council is saying, tell them love is the new religion. They're saying love is the new religion, and it is an organization that assists everybody. It doesn't take anybody down. Love is the new religion. They're also saying be willing to come together, because if you do not come together, then you will fall apart. That is inevitable. This has happened many times before. We've watched it. We've borne witness to humanity's rise and fall many times. You are still like children in many respects, but you are at a point in your consciousness now where you can begin to access vibrations and feelings of love that have never been consciously incorporated into the whole human paradigm before, except twice. And you have now the third time to do this. And it will change things greatly than ever before. So we encourage you to discover new ways of finding and inculcating the vibrations and frequencies of love in your mind, in your body, and in the space around you at all points. You will find freedom in this. And this is all you will find freedom in. You cannot find freedom in the polarity of fear and love. And do not let anybody tell you that you can. You do not need fear in order to love. You need to love in order to love. Thank you. Wow. Like I said, this is fairly. I mean, like I said, I've been doing this actively for about 2 years now, where I'm actually able to bring these beings through, and it blows my mind. I mean, the recordings we have here that information has been brought through, it will literally blow your mind when you realize what we all have. All of us can channel. All of us can connect to these divine beings. All of us can tap into powers of love and bliss and joy that very, 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 very few beings have ever allowed if you look at the overall population. But we're at that point now. They're saying, this is the point. There's literally tens of millions of angels and guides and dimensional beings that are surrounding us all, trying to open this, they keep saying it's not a can of worms, but that's the way my brain interprets it, right? But saying, open up this can of worms so you can fish for love, right? And it's important that you learn to realize there's nobody special in terms of being able to talk to these beings. They're available for all of us, and you'll learn that as you explore more and more and more and more. I'm getting a note here. Okay. So I know that, Lorraine, one of the reasons I also invited you on, because you've also been channeling too, and you also want to you brought a message, bring a message through for us today from Master Jesus as well, and the Arcturians, is that correct?
Oh, I thought you were going to do it, not me.
Oh, no. That's a beautiful thing. This is really great. The elegant
I wasn't prepared.
It's okay. That sometimes the best thing, this is what they told me that before I started. They said the best things for humanity are those things that are not prepared, those things that just happen spontaneously when we step outside, where we step outside in the moment. That's where the greatest change happens. When we try to operate from what we know, we get stuck. Oh
Yeah.
no, JC saying, no, 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 you can't get away that easy.
No, 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 now I'm worried. No.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that. I thought you were going to do it. So
I wasn't expecting a lot of this today either. Like it just comes through, as you know, right?
yeah, I think that was their plan, just to confuse me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So anyway,
Okay.
if you have any message that you'd like to share with us today,
All right, I'm going to tune in and see what I get. Okay.
absolutely.
Okay, I think it's Jesus. Um, this is the time for expansion. We can unite as one, become one. This course is a stepping stone for humanity. Time to break free and step forward into the light. Okay, I think that's it.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. It's beautiful. It's not an exclusive club. It's like all of us can do this. Like
Yeah,
all of us.
yeah,
Um, it is amazing. Like I said, there's many different schools teaching around this planet right now because this is the time of, as some schools call it the time of ascension. And by I understand the time of ascension to mean we have the capability to raise our consciousness beyond who we've been taught to think we're supposed to be or do. That we
yeah,
can raise ourselves above that. And this is the time of coming together. It is a time of unity. It is a time of expansion beyond what we think we know because we can't solve world problems from what we know. We can
yeah,
solve world problems from what we don't know. And we have access to what we don't know by tapping into beings that have that information at a higher frequency. I think we should talk a bit about that too, frequencies of being.
mm,
There are beings that function on light and love, and there are beings that function on fear and uncertainty. It's important to know the distinction between the two. Um, and we train everybody to understand that difference and how you know the difference between functioning and channeling from a place of fear, channeling
yeah,
from a place of love, because there are forces of good and evil. We know that, right?
mm.
But you learn to align yourself to forces of light. Um, yeah, it's what has been the biggest change for you, like overall? Like what's been the big change? Like if you were to say this is the apple. When I took a bite of this apple, I knew this was the right fruit.
Um, yeah.
I don't know why they chose that analogy, right?
Okay. um, for me, I'm trying to think what was the biggest thing. Just to be able to communicate. Just that the communication of before not knowing and not having the communication, and now I can communicate. So that's for me was the most powerful thing. Just before I didn't know that existed, and I was in my own mind, just like thoughts in my own mind, and talking to myself. And
Yeah,
now I'm actually talking to other beings, my guides and Jesus, and that's been huge. And getting the biggest thing actually is getting the answers. The answers the questions I'm asking, I'm getting answers. That's
wow.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. You've also communicated with Mary Magdalene and a few others as well. Is that
Yes, I
true?
have. Yeah, Mary Magdalene as well. Yeah, she comes in as well. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I just sensing the energy. So actually, I think it was this morning I was getting. Actually, it's funny you're saying that because this morning I was like just getting ready and stuff, and I could feel like here like a kind of pressure, but kind of warmth. And straight away I thought Mary Magdalene. I said, okay, Mary Magdalene, and this was in the morning. She was appearing to me, so okay, I could feel. So I knew her energy, and I could feel that I knew that she was coming through. Like, okay, so that's interesting. And then when I experience Jesus, it's usually at the back of my head. I feel it, and sometimes down my shoulders. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, Mary Magdalene this morning, she was appearing. So maybe it was something to do with this coming
Now,
on live.
so they can just appear to you automatically, but they can also you can
Yeah.
call them in as well, right?
Call them in,
Is
yeah,
that
for sure, yeah.
yeah?
But it's good
It's
to
funny
know that.
because
Sorry, it's
go
just
ahead,
going to say
man.
it's good that to know that you can. So you get a set once you start to realize, okay, sensing energies, and you start to realize who's who. So like I'm very familiar with Jesus' energy now, Mary Magdalene, and Mother Mary, and also Archangel Gabriel. I also know his energy, and so when I get a sensation, I'm like, and then I get the feeling. I also know it's them, but I also get a feeling that's them as well. So I sense it, but I also have that feeling that who's appearing to me. And before I did not
Wonderful.
get that. Yeah, I didn't get that. So
I'm curious, what did Mother Mary Mary Magdalene have to say to you this morning?
um so I think she's just been there with me. It's just kind of her presence, and that I know we didn't necessarily have a conversation, but I could feel her presence, and just that comforting presence, which I just felt. I didn't actually ask her, does she want to say
Yeah.
anything? But I just
Does she have anything to say to us right now?
okay. Let's see. Okay, she's saying yes, she has. So let's see what she has. I am here too. You can call upon me, and I'll help guide you the way if you need so. I think is what she's saying. Or need. I'm getting talking about the course. So this course will help you grow and find the strengths within you. Anyone can channel. Unlocking the powers within. Yeah,
Oh, it's
like
beautiful.
that.
Thank you, Mother
Okay.
Mary.
Yeah.
It is I know I went through a process too where I'd like to share with people. I went through a process when I was transitioning from my thoughts to actually hearing their thoughts, and there's a process for me anyway where I was uncertain. I was like, what? Where's this thought coming from?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking this thought, and they're saying it's very important. I communicate this message to you right now that you have to understand there is a clear distinction between what you feel yourself to be and what we are to you. You will feel very clear distinctions in the energy around your body. And we get into that sensing energy,
Yeah.
sensing the presence of these beings, because we're so caught, we get so caught, I was so caught up in my own head that I couldn't make that distinction for many, many years. Even though it was happening, I wasn't aware it was happening. And so it's important you learn how to actually differentiate between who you think you are and who these other beings are that are around us all the time. You know, it's a very interesting process. Um, um, Oh yeah. What else did you learn from the course besides channeling? I mean, we cover a
Um,
bunch of other stuff too.
Yeah, I just actually want to mention what you're saying about that, about the difference between when somebody, for me, I just want to how I feel it. It's like I will get into channeling and I will just relax my mind, and then get the answers. But it's like almost like I don't remember. Like I vaguely remember what was after being said. It's like I have to go back and listen to it. Like I know words are being said, but it's like I feel it's guidance I'm getting, and not me as in my mind who's just making
Mhm.
up this conversation. So it's kind of like I know there's powerful words being said, but sometimes I have to go back and I'll look at the video and go, okay, that's what I was getting. It's interesting.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
thing you bring up. In our courses, it's not just about learning how to channel. We also cover things like diet and health. We
yeah,
cover meditation. What is meditation? How to do it. We
yeah,
cover, how to release emotions that aren't serving you anymore. How to let go of your pain and your anger and your
yeah,
fear, your guilt. How to let go of all that stuff that does not serve you and doesn't serve humanity, and never will. But we can learn to let that go. Um, I mean, the change, just the water. Remember the one when we've introduced water, the value
yeah.
of water. How much of a difference is just changing the way you drink water? made?
Oh, huge, huge. And I also, it does help like to drink water before channeling. It just makes it like you're receiving information I found more powerful.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very important to keep drinking. I don't think I've drank as much water in my life.
That's funny. I ask myself, when I ask myself, how do I articulate the full value and meaning of the course? It's very difficult because there's just so much in it. I mean, we had no
Yeah,
idea when because they guided us to put these courses together. I mean, literally they guided. I had beings that just blow your mind talk to me,
yeah,
Master Katumi, Metatron, um, beings I don't even know the names of, just coming through and giving us this information. And it's more than just a course in channeling. It's a
yeah,
course in physical health,
yeah,
mental, emotional well-being. It's a course
yeah.
in meditation. The meditations have just been woo, out of this
Oh
world.
yeah, amazing.
Because
Amazing. Oh, actually, I want to tell my experience about the one of the meditations where I was in the, where you go into manifestation, the manifestation one with the earth
yes,
and the moon
yes,
and the sun. And so I asked to have my clairs open more, not just open fully, but open more than what's normal. And I found
by,
the
by,
next,
yeah, by
sorry,
Claire, hang on, by clairs,
clairs,
she
yeah,
means the five non-physical factors. You have clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, clairgustions. There's
yeah.
about 8 different clairs that we all possess dormantly. Most are
Yeah.
dormant, but we all possess these clairs. So
Yeah, yeah, and then the next, so that was one day, and the next day I found things they actually did start to open, and I started to receive, like, I would get parts of, like the Akashic records I was starting to get, so that was amazing. I never had that before. So I would communicate with somebody, and I would start to see parts of maybe I should say parallel lives and not past lives, because I have to try and get into that that frame of thinking. But I start to see things and then I could ask questions about that. So, and also I've been, Edgar Casey has come by and talked to me as well. So about the Akashic records, which I find interesting. So before that never happened, and now I kind of got a bit of a communication with him, and you can bring anybody in who you want to communicate. If you want to bring in John Wayne, because John Wayne's coming in right now, I'm thinking, and the reason why is funny because, like a few months ago, I was talking to it was Saint Germain. And for some reason, I was like, I want to try to bring in Saint Germain. And I was listening to, I think it was Johann Strauss music was supposed to help bring Saint Germain in. And when I was
yes.
listening to that, John Wayne appeared.
Well, what did he say?
He
I'm
didn't.
curious.
He didn't say anything. His face just appeared, and I goes, "Why is John Wayne coming in?" But I think John Wayne. There could be something to do with the fractals with Saint Germain. So that's what I'm kind of getting. That there's something
Cool.
there.
That's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty profound. And that was just one meditation that opened that whole thing up for you.
Oh yeah, just one. Yeah, that was amazing.
I know we have, I mean, the meditations, there's usually 2 to 4 meditations every week throughout the 6 weeks of the
Yeah.
101 and 102 anyway. There's been many of them, and
Yeah.
it's just mind-boggling what unfolds. And these are channeled meditations where
Yeah.
Jesus come through, or we've had Buddha channel meditations. We've had the
Yeah.
Divine Council of Light, the Galactic Council of Light. There's just so many different. I mean, we see 7 billion people in this planet, well, almost 8 billion people now,
Yeah.
and there are way more beings available to us throughout the cosmos than our finite minds can conceive,
Yeah.
and we're not limited in any respects. Um,
Yeah, I
it's
find
amazing.
the meditations were life changing. They're just like so profound, and it's not just that you're doing it yourself. We're doing it as a small collective, if you want to say, of our group. And I find that alone is like the strength in that is just amazing. So we're doing a group meditation where you could have 20 people all at the same time doing a meditation, and it's just so powerful. And you come out and you're like bliss. There's a bliss feeling afterwards. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, and we all feel that. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just unbelievable.
yeah,
And they're saying they're saying groups that are doing this are radiating out this and putting this into the collective unconsciousness of humanity, so it'll come up and be easier. Which is why they're saying these courses and classes open people up so easily now, because this energy has been putting in the collective unconsciousness for about 50 years, like with great effort
yeah,
since the I can't remember, the Cultural Revolution in North America started, where people began to
yeah.
focus on the concepts of love, peace, and joy as being what we really need to focus on. I mean, John Lennon brought it forth. There's so many beings, and I've had John Lennon come to me too, which is very fascinating.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
and also for me as well. So before taking this course, like I felt that, you know, that not being like with not with spirit, but being with humans, other people, that I was the only one that was going on this kind of spiritual adventure. I felt like I was the only, you know, that was going through this start of awakening process. And then so when I
Yes.
came to the course, I met other individuals exactly like me,
Mm.
and that was amazing. So I didn't feel like I was so alone, because before I was kind of like, some people just don't get you or whatever, you know, they're just not
Yep. Yep.
ready, they're not ready, right? And so when I meet people who are on the same page as me, that was just amazing. Like, so like amazing people I've met. I've got really close friends through this course, and probably for a lifetime, I have a feeling that was, you know, and it goes beyond. And I've actually found out that some of these people that I've met, that were actually had past lives, parallel lives together, and stuff
Yeah.
like this. So that has been amazing, and how we're all connected too, right?
Yeah, the quantum, there's a part of the program where we discover we incorporate quantum physics. It's all in there on how we are really, in reality, we are all interconnected as one consciousness,
Yeah,
just in different aspects, much the same way as a hand has,
yeah,
5 fingers, but it's still part of one hand.
yeah,
And you can be a finger, or you can be a finger knowing it's part of the hand,
yeah,
and you learn that experience. But this is the time of ascension for humanity, where we get a chance to actually activate love as a functional experience in our collective consciousness and our collective unconsciousness. Because ideally, we want love to be our automatic response to situations, rather than the uncertainty of fear, which is, what's brought us to this point in our challenges in current humanity. Is we've been reacting from an unconsciousness of fear. Now it's time to operate from an unconsciousness of love. And our whole focus in bringing 1 billion people together by starting off with these courses is that to get that function operating in human collective consciousness, where we are
yeah,
coming from love consistently. I guess I want to talk a bit about. We should take some questions and answers too, Lorraine,
yeah,
um, and
yeah,
then I'll give people a synopsis of when the courses and classes start. But
yeah,
we'd be more than happy to take, Lorraine or myself would be more than happy to take your questions. If you've got any
yeah.
questions or concerns about what we said, please post them up, and we'll respond to them immediately. We can bring beings through that will answer those questions for you too, if you like. So I need to find my glasses so that I can see the small print here. Uh, yeah. Oh, hi, Kate. Hi, Norma. So yeah, so we'll take questions and answers. Uh, Hi, John, Francesca. So yeah, it's there's we're at this time. I mean, you look at beings like Eckhart Tolle and Wayne Dyer and Deepak Chopra, and at the list, it's a long, long list. Tony Robbins, Joe Dispenza. There are beings that are activating this function of unconscious love being expressed automatically to humanity, and we're beginning to see changes globally, step by step, and that's a good thing. And we want more people to be that way. We want more people to really connect to the essence of who we are. I mean, I believe in my heart anyway that we are love. It's not something we got to become. It's something we just have to actualize.
Yeah.
And this world, when we came into it, got us into this place of thinking we're separate,
Yeah.
and that creates a lot of discomfort. Um, oh, that's a good question. I'll let you take that one from Norma.
What
Why is channeling the way to the heart?
way to the heart? You could, so you have a better connection to yourself. You going within. Like I find I have a better connection with my higher self as well, like, which is amazing, because like your higher self is you, but just having that connection as well, and the communication of a more solid communication of with channeling like before. So for me, that's like I trust my higher self like 110%, if not more. And whatever my higher self is guiding, it's from pure love. And that if something I'm not sure about, and if I hear an answer that to go at maybe a different path or do something else, I trust them 110%. So if I'm unsure, and then I'm like, okay, well then they know what's best for us, right? Higher self. So just even that alone, like fine, just going within and discovering who you are within. Um, that's, and just communicating with other beings as well, and then your guides and your actual team as well. So
Mm.
just the whole experience, like basically, I can't say enough good things about it. Really, it's just been an amazing experience.
Um, okay, we have a person, Tatete, is saying, I get the feeling JC is with me now. Is he, and does he have any messages for me now? I'm getting a yes to that, absolutely. He's saying you have come to that place where you are ready to serve with honor and to extend yourself further than you have to influence the quality of humankind. It is time to end any isolation and expand yourself in love, for you cannot diminish in function when you increase in love. You will always increase your function as you connect more fully to love within you. Learn to make clear discernments between fear and love. It will allow you to stay focused on the one and function more effectively in your day-to-day life. Um, Another question from Norma here. And how does channeling aid our growth?
Um, how do we aid our growth? Just connection to the spirit and to other beings. I'm not sure if I'm getting this right. The question, she's asking me hard questions. No. But I could channel it probably. No, it's good that I do it.
Go for it. Go
No,
for it.
I'll see. Okay, so what's the question again? This is how how does channeling aid our growth? Is that the one? Is that the question? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
So I need my human self to step back a bit and let the higher my higher self answer.
Perfect.
Expand. It helps to expand consciousness and awareness. Open the doors to all that is, and realize that you are connected. Beyond space and time. We are one. Got that one.
Well, it's beautiful. Thank you.
Okay.
This excitement in my heart from that.
See,
Wow.
and with me as in myself, I was like, okay, I don't know. My brain kicks in. My human brain is just like, well, I don't know how am I going to answer that? I'm not sure. But then when I step back and then channel it, I get a better message. It's just like
Yeah, isn't that amazing, eh?
it is
That's so
amazing.
important. I'm really glad you brought that point forward. So it's very true. There is a difference between your mind and
Yeah,
listening to these other beings. There is a clear
huge.
distinction, and you learn to make that distinction. Once you learn to make that distinction,
Yeah,
you open up a realm of communication that takes your life to a whole new level.
yeah,
The
whole
only
new
way to
level.
know it, the only way to know it is to experience it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Now, Andy's saying, I've been channeling a Zeta being named Zod. I don't really like Grays, but he feels like a good being. Do you have any experience with Grays at all? Kind of scary for me. I'm used to channeling beings like Jesus and Saint Germain, and I think you have experience with some Grays. Is that correct,
Mm-hmm.
Lorraine?
Yeah, I
So
have
I think I'll let you
actually.
take that one. 'Cause I don't have any direct. They've come by, but we've never really communicated.
Yeah, I just say I've actually had like I've had a few appear to me in my kind of dream state, so I'm in that hypnagogic state. But I've also had a grey coming in, and we've actually had, I don't know whether it's past lives or actually a parallel life with the grey, but it's like they're and I channeled them actually, and I channeled one called Janara, which you introduced me to. That was a grey. And like he's like my buddy, I guess. It's kind of it's very different.
Yeah, he was
So
hovering around you that day.
yes, yes. And the thing is, right, it's like they're different. like they're actually, and I channeled this question, is that because I was, again, I come from a place when you start thinking about grays, there's fear involved, and that, you know, the past of, you know, the abductions and stuff like that, right? So that's kind of, there's a fear-based thing around that. So when I channeled them, what they were, it was what I got, they're actually high vibrational beings. They're just different to us than humans, where we have the emotion that they just don't have. And that, so they're like, I don't know if they don't have a heart chakra, but they're different. They're not like humans, where we have a range of emotions. We have, you know, fear, and we have joy. They're coming from, and they're very when I channel them, they're very they're kind of like a robotic to a sense, where it's not like, they're not very, the emotion's not there, but they're still high vibrational beings, and their
Yeah.
purpose is to ascend like us as well. And it's just that, like, they're not scary as what you think they were. And it's like the realization, we are all God, of God. We're all God, and how we are connected, and they want to help us, and believe it or not, we want to help them, if you don't believe that. But
Yeah.
and that's what I've realized in the communication I've had. 2 days ago, I had an elderly grey appear to me. So he was like, he just looked different. He actually had, how I would describe him, he's like older looking grey, and he had spots, like aging spots on his head. But you know,
Wow.
he was just coming by to communicate. So it's like they want us
What
to
did he say?
realize what they just basically, he was saying that because I wasn't afraid, and that they I don't have that fear, and it's just that they are also, you know, they're also a part of God, and that we all are connected, and that we probably, many of us probably have had past lives or parallel lives with, as a gray, or connected somehow, and that we're all working together to ascend, and for them to ascend, and for us to ascend as well. So they want to help us as well, as much as we kind of think, oh, they don't want to help us. Well, they actually do, you know. And yeah,
Yeah.
so not to be
So
afraid, not to be afraid.
this being Andy, this being that you called Zod has come through to me, and he's saying to give this message directly to you. I am of the 11th dimension, and as you expand yourself beyond your finite conceptions of who you might think you are, I will be in greater communion with you, for the frequencies of emotion that you are still attached to act as a filter to that which I would have to say to you, and it is important that you hear me accurately and not through your filters. He's saying, please meditate. Get your mind quiet. That is the best time for us to communicate, when your mind and emotion is still and quiet. Please do this. It is time. You can do this. I hope that means something to you. It's the first time
Yeah,
I've
and I
channeled.
just want to say as well that there's nothing to be afraid, because we're all one, we're all connected. And having fear is, you will create fear. Fear within will also create fear around you. And if you kind of change that as into just pure love, and that you have love, um, it's going to reflect outside your world and the beings that come to you, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Can you channel a gray? Do any of the grays have a message for us right now,
Okay,
Lorraine?
I'll do that. I feel like it's the elderly grey that's coming in. The very wise.
Yeah, I felt that.
Okay, yeah, very wise soul. So we are here to assist you. Call upon us. We are high vibrational beings. We operate differently to you humans, but we have the same goal. And and I see like he's putting out his hand, and like somebody, I'm reaching his hand to assist. I just got that vision there now. We can work together, help raise the human consciousness. I'm getting like we care for you dearly, because I don't think that it's like love you dearly, but we care for you dearly. That's what I'm getting. Let's look at that.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Lorraine. I could really feel
Okay.
that too. I could feel actually when he came to you. I could feel that.
Did you? Yeah. Yeah,
That's
the
really cool.
elderly, just a wise being.
So Alex is saying, asking, in other past civilizations like Atlantis or Lemuria, chanting was part of their daily life. It was something that those civilizations did as a collective. It was common. Oh, thank you. He's making a comment. Thank you, Alex. That's a great, and that's a great truth.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
meditation is a critical thing. Andy, you're welcome. Yeah, yeah. That's a practice. Meditation can never be underestimated.
I also want to say as well that if people are kind of worried about, oh, I'm going to attract a lower being, or a lower dimensional being when they channel or they go asleep, you can actually make that intention of when you go to sleep that you only want high vibrational beings to appear to you if you want them to appear. And that and say something like, not to play, you don't want them, sometimes they want to play with your energy, so you can even say that you just want, if you have a message, give me a message, but only high vibrational beings, and they will only appear. So
yeah, and it's amazing. Yeah, when you that's the important, another point you bring up, Lorraine, is the ability to change your vibration from a negative one to a positive one in any instant. When you have that capability, you don't get stuck in the fear paradigm anymore. But I think Alex has that added question. I'm reading Alex's question over again. Absolutely, in Atlantis and Lemuria, chanting was a part of their daily life as a collective, which is one of the reasons those two civilizations lasted as long as they did, is because the quality of, I mean, not everybody did it, but a larger percentage of people than do today did meditate in both Atlantis and Lemuria, and it made a huge difference in how their civilizations flourished and the technologies they developed, and the fact that many of them were able to develop technology to leave the planet, and have moved on to other things. So I hope that addresses your question there, Alex. I'm just going to scroll down and see if we got any more questions. Diane is asking, is there a best time to meditate?
Best time?
For me, I can speak. I usually meditate in the mornings very early, anywhere between 3:30 in the morning and 7:30 in the morning. I'll meditate in that time for me, and I'll meditate anywhere from 1 to 3 hours, depending on what I feel is the right thing, what feels right. Sometimes it'll be an hour, sometimes it'll be 3 hours, depending on what is really needed. But it's actually up to you. I mean, I've had meditations in the middle of the night sometimes. I've gotten up at 7 o'clock. It really gets to a place where you get so connected to what your system naturally needs, you begin to just honor that.
Yeah. Actually, I remember reading it somewhere as well that just for meditating, it's very powerful in the morning, and like because you're in a, I don't know what kind of state you're on, but it's easier for you to meditate in the morning as opposed to say late at night, and and also if you do want to say meditate and you want to connect to somebody, say like a being or like an archangel or somebody, it's actually they say that the thinnest part of the veil is actually early in the morning at sunrise and in evening when sunset. So they're the times the thinnest. So you might see something, or you might get something coming through. Sometimes I get like I will see something like at the corner of my eye, like something happening at those times. It's kind of interesting, or a flash or something. I'd get a flash or something.
Yes. Yeah. I got a bright green flash when I was coming back, getting set for this. This big green flash appeared on the floor in front of me. I didn't figure out who it was, but it felt like the energy was being put here to make this thing happen the way it was needed to happen today.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, there's just so much that we get into in these courses. I'm going to give everybody the information unless there's any other questions. You're welcome, Alex. Yeah. That's somebody. Norma just asked me to ask you if you'd be willing to channel a message from Gabrielle for us. Gabriel.
Gabrielle. Oh,
Yeah.
Gabriel. I think Gabriel.
Yeah.
I know Miss Gabriel.
Yeah, I know sometimes I pronounce words phonetically as opposed to according to the language, but it's
Yeah,
Gabrielle.
yeah, and I see him as male because some people see him as female or male depending on how they perceive his energy, I guess. But I see him
Yes.
as a male, and I've actually have seen him in my sleep state as well, and he's
Yes.
masculine. Yeah, so let's see.
It's funny how they can. It's funny how they can do that. That they can actually. I know with especially with Gabrielle, I get that too. Where I often see him masculine, but there's times where I see him feminine,
Oh yeah,
and that
yeah,
blows my mind too. It's because we're not. They're not bound by gender like we are in our forms. They work from a perspective of energy, which is there is masculine energy and there's feminine energy. That was my experience and what he told me why I experienced it that way.
yeah.
But yeah, let's have a message
Okay.
from him.
Okay, saying hello, dear ones. Shine your light out into the world. Be brave and step forward. This course will change your life in ways you can't imagine. You can communicate through us or with us. You can make a difference with humanity. And we can do this as a whole. And I hear him saying, let's do this together. And that is all.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Gabrielle.
Okay.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Lorraine.
Okay.
Let's talk a bit about somebody asked about the green flash, and as I remember you asking that, I asked them what that green flash is. It was the energy of growth. Green is very powerful, a powerful light energy for instilling growth, and this is a very important time in human transmission of information from us that we transmit a lot of growth energy, that you feel energy that grows and nurtures your being. So that's what they just told me about that. So I hope that
Yeah.
addresses your concern. So I want to talk a bit about the courses and classes when they're starting. With our 103 course, any students that have taken any of our previous courses, the Mediumship 101 course, the Mediumship 102 course, you may take this 103 course at the student discount rate. Any of those who have specific experience channeling, who have actually channeled and are actively channeling, you may certainly join this course and program. I think you'll find this will take your life to a very different level than it has um, uh, from other courses. But there are lots of other things out there. The mediumship, the rest of the schedule for 2019, the mediumship 101 course starts Saturday, October the 5th, and runs until Friday, October the 25th. The 102 course starts Saturday, October the 26th, and runs to November 25th. And the 103 course, which will be the second time it'll premiere this year, will start Saturday, November 16th, and run until Friday, December 6th. Each of these courses is 3 weeks long. It's held in a private Facebook group. Which respects all time zones, all the live recordings, all the presentations by the different mediums that are in the group, and we'll have 6 mediums in the 101 and 102 course, and we'll have 4 at least in the 103 course. And the live presentations, if you miss them, no matter what time zone you're in, every single video that's made, every practice session that's done in the group, because you learn to practice your channeling, you learn to sense energies, you learn to review and analyze your diet, you learn to change and alter your emotional state. There's just so many things that happen. I can't list them all here in a reasonable period of time. But when it's life-changing, that's all I can say. This is a life-changing event for anybody who engages themselves in it. It's just mind-blowing. And you get support from mediums. You practice live sessions. You learn how to work with technology in a brand new way. In the 103, we get into a component where you learn how to transform this into a functional business so you can spread the word and build the message. Because again, our fundamental goal that we've been given is to entrain and unite 1 billion people into a state of love and grace to learn to alter the magnetic imbalances that are happening on the planet and in the consciousness collectively of humanity. But these are class dates. If you want to register for the course or you want to get more information, because all the details for the courses are at my website, which is www.williammichaelforbescoaching.com. And at the bottom of the page, you see all the courses listed there. You can get all the details about the 101, the 102, and the 103 courses. And I really, really hope that you've, again, Lorraine, I want to thank you for coming on because it's been amazing. Because you,
thank you.
And you're just one of many students that have learned to channel and do this. And and I hope to bring you more of those students so that you see that this is something that everybody can learn to do. Thank you. I'm getting goosebumps just saying that. This is something that we all have this innate ability to channel. It's innate. It's in all of us.
Anybody.
This is just our bodies are just a transmitting and receiving station, and so is your soul. And anyway, I invite all of you to come and join us. We'd love to have you. Again, this is an amazing movement. The time of human ascension is now, and that ascension is love. And I want to thank you guys for showing up today. I want to thank you then for taking the time out of your busy day, Lorraine. I know you've got so much more going on now. So again, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the 103 in a couple more weeks.
I know, I can't wait for it. I'm so excited.
Yeah, we are too.
Great.
So again, thank you. I just want to take one last speak. Wonderful. Thank you again, and everybody have a joy-filled day, and much love to all of you. And again, thank you for tuning in. And if you've enjoyed the video, please like it and share it. It's even this video, there are vibrations and frequencies in this video that have been brought here by our teams, our divine teams, because everybody's got divine teams, that will affect you and affect other people. So much love, and take care, Lorraine. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody. Bye, William.
Bye, everybody.